Most people think 90s gaming was a waste of time. But here's the thing. It wasn't play. It was exposure therapy for failure. You'd hit game over, lose everything, and still start again. Over and over. That builds an internal locus of control. That's the belief that your actions matter even when it's hard. Now fast forward. Emails, deadlines, notifications. Same pressure, new wrapper. So why do some people shut down? And you just keep moving? Have you ever noticed you can take a hit at work, feel bad for a minute, and still keep going, while someone else just shuts down? Like you both got the same rough email, same bad news. But your body goes hot, then steady, and you keep typing. Think about it. You're on a living room floor. Carpet marks on your legs. The TV is too loud. You blow dust out of the cartridge like it's a ritual, click it in, and hit power. One life left. You already know the level. The cheap enemy spot. The jump that needs a late tap. The part where you have to stop rushing or you die. Your hands are sweaty, but you don't put the controller down because you've been here before. Then it happens. You miss it by a hair. Game over. Not a soft reset. Not try again from the checkpoint. The whole run is gone. All that time, all that focus. And the screen just sits there like, yep, that's what you get. So you do the only move you've got. You start from the beginning. No rant, no review bomb, no update coming to fix it later. It's just you, the level, and the fact that you messed up. Psychologists call this frustration tolerance. It's your ability to stay in a task even while your body is yelling, stop. This feels awful, get out. And it's not just willpower. It's a nervous system skill. It's how fast you can cool down and try again without turning the moment into a full spiral. And those games trained it in a very specific way. Research shows intermittent rewards and repeated setbacks can train persistence, especially when the feedback is clear and tied to your action. Not life is unfair. More like you missed the timing. You didn't watch the pattern. You got greedy and went for one more hit. That kind of feedback does something to your brain. It links pain to information. It turns failure into data. So instead of I'm bad, the thought becomes, I did that wrong. Small shift, huge effect. Now think about what that actually means. Your brain learned a rule early. Discomfort doesn't mean danger. It just means adjust, slow down, wait half a beat, don't panic jump, don't button mash. This wasn't a waste of time. It was low-stakes exposure therapy for failure, repeated until your nervous system stopped treating a loss like a crisis. You got practice feeling the drop in your stomach, the heat in your face, the urge to quit. And then staying anyway. You didn't get a safety net, so you built your own. One restart at a time. One more run. One more try when you didn't feel like it. Which brings us to the part most people miss. What that did to your sense of control in real life, when the rules got messy and the feedback wasn't on a screen. There is something different about how you explain failure. You don't always blame the world first. You check what you did. Not because you love taking the blame, because your brain expects there's a switch somewhere, and you can find it. Think about it. You're stuck in a game and there's no guide, no YouTube, no comment section. The manual doesn't help, and half the time it's missing anyway. If you're lucky, a kid at school gives you a hint, and it's half wrong, but you still take it home like it's gold. So you do the annoying work. You walk into every door. You try the weird item that seems useless. You talk to the same NPC 3 times. You write stuff down on scrap paper like you're doing a tiny science lab at your kitchen table. You test options on purpose. You change one thing, then you watch what changes. You fight the same boss 3 ways just to see if the pattern shifts when you stay close, stay far, or stop attacking for a second and just dodge. That's not just being determined. Psychologists call this an internal locus of control. It's the belief that your choices can change the outcome, even when the outcome is hard. Not the belief that you control everything, just the belief that your move matters, so you keep making moves. And it doesn't live in your head as a quote or a mantra. It shows up as a loop you run without thinking. Effort, action, feedback, adjustment, over and over. You don't sit there waiting to feel ready. You poke the system and see where it reacts. Research shows people with a stronger internal locus of control tend to problem solve more and cope better under stress. And when someone leans hard the other way, with a strong external focus, stress can turn into helplessness fast, because if the world is always the reason, there's nothing left to try. But here's the thing. The 90s didn't make you tough because adults gave speeches about hard work. It made you tough because your tools forced you to be the person who figures it out. The game didn't care if you were tired. The computer didn't care if you were mad. The rules were the rules, and the only way out was learning them. So later, when adult life hits you with unclear rules, you don't love it, but you still hunt for the lever. A messy boss who changes their mind. A broken system where nobody owns the problem. A slow career ladder where the steps aren't even labeled. Other people freeze because it feels unfair. You get annoyed too, but your brain goes, okay, what's the input that changes the output here? Who do I email? What can I document? What can I ship this week that makes the next week easier? That quiet, I'll handle it feeling you have today? That's not personality. That's learned control from a world where help wasn't instant, and progress came from paying attention. Now let's talk about the hidden cost of all this grit, because it didn't come for free at all. Most assume you're just low drama, like you're fine under stress. But research tells a different story. You're good at pushing through. You're not always good at stopping. Think about how you grew up. Boredom was normal. Waiting was normal. Being out of reach was normal. You'd sit by the phone and just sit. You'd watch the microwave count down. You'd stare out a car window with nothing to do. You had long gaps with no updates, no refresh, no new tab. Your brain got used to empty space. Now the world is the opposite. Endless pings, Slack dots, email threads that never die. And the pressure is sneaky because it feels like a game, but it never ends. There's always one more thing to clear. One more message to answer. One more tiny task that makes you feel like you're being a good person because you're on top of it. So your brain takes the old training, persists through friction, and drops it into a modern system built to keep you locked in. You don't just work, you monitor, you scan, you keep one ear open, even when you're off. That's why burnout can hit you weird. It's not always a crash. Sometimes it's this flat feeling. You're still doing the moves, but none of it lands. You're tired, but you can't rest. You sit down, and your mind keeps reaching for the next input. Psychologists call this variable reinforcement. That's when rewards show up at random. Sometimes you send a note and get praise in 2 minutes. Sometimes you get nothing for 2 days, so you check again. And again. Not because you're needy, because your brain is trying to close the loop. It's the same loop that made you replay a level because you knew the win was possible. Except now, the win is a green dot, a quick reply, a little hit of relief. And social comparison theory makes it worse. That's the habit of measuring yourself by watching other people. In the 90s, you compared scores with a friend next to you. Now it's constant. You don't just chase the task. You chase how you look while doing the task, because you're always being measured somewhere. So the same grit that helped you beat a brutal game can turn into, I can't relax unless I've earned it. You don't take breaks because you're weak. You skip breaks because your executive function is still in clear the level mode. But here is the thing. The real skill isn't more grind. It's switching modes on purpose. Digital detachment. 1 hour with no input. A walk with no podcast. A chore with no phone. A slow meal where you actually taste it. This wasn't doing nothing. It was training your brain to be off without feeling unsafe. Think about what that actually means. Your advantage isn't just endurance. It's that you can recreate the old rules when you choose to. And when you do, the whole game over story flips into something you can use on a random Tuesday at 3 p.m. You didn't just grow up playing hard games. You grew up rehearsing try again until it felt normal. So when life hits you, you feel the sting, you breathe, and you move. That's not cold. That's a trained nervous system. Psychologists call this learned persistence. It's the habit of staying in the task while your brain screams quit. Think about what that actually means. You can take hits without falling apart. Drop a comment and share your story. What game taught you patience the hard way? Hit like and subscribe because we dive deep into psychology that actually explains how your mind works. Next time, neighborhood play.